Hey everybody, welcome to the hangar deck. I, I haven't done this for a while. I haven't actually done a multi-part series building a model. So I thought maybe I would start that today. What I'm going to build is this B-25J Strafer, Mitchell Strafer, 172 scale from Eduard. Give you a little background. In the Pacific, one of the things that they did with the B-25s that came out is they experimented with putting first 4 and then 8 50 caliber machine guns in the nose. And they skinned over the nose. They got rid of the greenhouse. They skinned over the nose, and this thing worked great. They sent this information back to North American and said, hey, we want B-25s built exactly like this. And they said, oh, that won't work. That would throw off the center of gravity and blah, blah, blah. And there was a guy by the name of Pappy Gunn. He had been in the Navy. He retired from the Navy right before World War II began, really, for the United States, but about 1940. And he retired to the Philippines. And when World War II broke out in the Pacific, he had a small airline with 2 aircraft, and he would ferry people out of the Philippines. He finally got down to 1 airplane. He only had 2, and he got down to 1 working airplane and cannibalized the other. And he had taken some people off island, and he was getting ready to go back for his wife and children, and they had been captured by the Japanese, and they had to spend the rest of not their lives, but the rest of the war in a Japanese prison camp or concentration camp or whatever you want to call it. So he was the one that came up with the idea of putting the machine guns in the nose of B-25s. He had kind of been swept up by MacArthur and Kinney. Kinney was MacArthur's air commander, if you will, air exec, whatever. I know air exec can't be the right term, but anyway, he was in charge of MacArthur's air forces. And he used, they commissioned Pappy Gunn, and Pappy Gunn became this troubleshooter in the Pacific for problems with aircraft. So he came up with the idea of the B-25 Mitchell Strafer. And when North American said, oh, no, that can't be done, he and I think it was Kinney got on an airplane, a fast boat, a fast train, what have you, all the way from the Philippines to Washington, or to where North American was, and said, this is what we're doing, and showed them the drawings that they had, and the photographs of what they had done. So their typical envelope for flight was 50 feet off the deck. That was the best way for them to fly, so that the Japanese didn't shoot them down. And they operated in that area, in that zone, if you will. And one of the things that they carried were parachute bombs, so that when they dropped the bomb, a parachute opened, and it was a high fragmentation bomb, and it would slow it down quick enough that the plane could get away. Another technique that they pioneered was called skip bombing, and they would actually, they would approach a ship, and they would fly low, and they would drop a bomb several hundred yards away from the ship, or several yards. I would assume it would be a couple of hundred yards, and that bomb would actually skip on the surface of the water like a stone, and then impact the side of the ship and explode. So that way you not only got the explosion from the bomb, but you caused damage right about the water line. So, you know, that was huge in attacking Japanese shipping. And then, of course, you know, 8 50 caliber machine guns were just devastating to anything on the business end of those machine guns. And there's actually, you know, there were the 2 top turret guns. There were the 8 in the nose, and some of them carried 4 on the sides, 2 on each side. So it was a devastating amount of firepower, and they were basically all going to pretty close to the same spot. So this is what I'm going to build. That gives you a little background on the aircraft. Mitchell was named after Billy Mitchell, or the Mitchell was named after Billy Mitchell. He was a pioneer in military aviation. You can, you know, look him up. There's a lot of fascinating stories about that guy. And he's part of the reason why we have, he's part of the reason why we have the air tactics we have today. That you can trace those all the way back to Billy Mitchell. So anyway, thank you very much for your attention. As you can see, I've already clipped some of the fuselage halves off, or the 2 fuselage halves off. Also, to give you a little bit more background, Accurate Miniatures did a 1/48 scale aircraft of this, basically the same aircraft, and I tried my darndest to build that, and it was a crash and burn. So that airplane, I don't even know if I even have it anymore. I may have tossed it. But it was the only one of 2 major failures I ever had with an Accurate Miniatures. Back in the day when they were producing models, they were a pretty hot commodity in modeling, and pretty cool. So listen, I've kept you long enough. I didn't mean for this to be a lecture series, but we'll just call this part 1 of the B-25J Mitchell Strafer. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you later.